Hey everybody, this is day one of Game Plan Boot Camp. We're going to be covering 25 chapters in 12 days of videos that are only 20 minutes long each. And today will be the hardest of those to get into 20 minutes, but I'm a fly-in. I know I can do it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And we're going to do this together, all right? You and me. You might have some questions about how boot camp is going down, and for that, I shot a Game Plan Boot Camp FAQ, which you can find on the Oilability with Sarah page, or we're going to be adding it to the boot camp page as well. Go check it out before you start because it'll help you so much with your questions. So I'm a Young Living Diamond. My name is Sarah Harnish. I'm the author of this book right here, Game Plan, the complete strategy guide to go from starter kit to silver. And it feels really weird to say both of those things. I'm not going to lie to you. 3 years ago, I was a homeschool mom of 5. 3 years ago, I was a homeschool mom of 5 in poverty and overwhelmed. And so now I'm sitting in front of you in a totally different position, and it's because of Young Living. Young Living has completely, totally changed my life. And my mission now, my why, the thing that gets me out of bed every single day is you. It's showing you that you have purpose, that you have meaning, that you have more to you than going through the mundane, than staying in your comfort zone, that you have it in you to do some amazing things if you step out of the places where you are, if you're willing to face fears and move your feet. And that's what this boot camp is all about. I want to share just a little story with you to get started, one that I've never shared before. I'm actually going to be opening Game Plan 2, the second Game Plan book, with this story. And I figured this would be a really fitting place to share it because maybe you're in that spot where you just don't feel like you've got a lot to offer. You feel pretty overwhelmed. Every day is bowling you over. You might not be coming from a place of extreme poverty, but maybe you are coming from a place of extreme exhaustion. And you don't know that you've got the fight to be able to push on. I told you a moment ago that I'm a homeschool mom. We started homeschooling because of my oldest son, who is on the autism spectrum. And I was actually a public school teacher before that. I taught 4th and 8th grade, was very, very against homeschooling. But I saw my son not struggle for 3 years. And as he got older and older and older, we really had an issue with him because he couldn't communicate very well. Communicating with the siblings through violence and through aggression. And I remember one day I was sitting there and he was our oldest of the kids, and I was sitting in my living room, and it was just a really bad day for him, just a very hard day for him to be able to communicate. And he was frustrated when his little brother threw a Lego at him, and so he picked him up, put him against the wall, and started putting dog treats down his throat and until our little guy was choking and his lips were turning blue. And so I said, no, you've got to stop. And I put my body between him and our little guy, and he got frustrated and still couldn't communicate very well. So he walked over and he slapped his other brother in the face, and you could see the imprint of all of his fingers on his little face. And so then I have 2 kids that are crying, and he gets up and he walks out, and he thought he was leaving with me somewhere in our van, and my daughter was sitting in the van waiting to go with us. And so he walked over and he grabbed her by the hair. Again, poor communication because he's on the autism spectrum. And he pulled her out and he threw her on the ground outside, and she skinned both of her knees, and she was crying. And he slammed the door and locked her out of the house in the pouring rain, and she's sitting on the ground in blood outside. That all happened in 5 minutes in my home. So if you're a mom of a special needs child, I understand. I know that place. You're fighting a battle every single day between protecting your child who's special needs and protecting your other children in the home. I was doing that while I was working a full-time job anchoring news. And so I would leave for work at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. So I'd get up a little after 3 o'clock in the morning and get ready, and then I would get in my car at 4 o'clock and I would leave. When you've got a special needs child, sometimes that means you don't go to bed till midnight or 1, trying to get them down. And so I had battled that schedule for 22 years. I mean, over and over and over and over, the constant breaking up fights every 3 minutes, trying to help my son to use his words, letting him know that it's not his fault. It's the way he's wired, that he's loved, that he's treasured, but that he can't treat people in that way. And Yeah, there's a lot of you guys on with autistic children, so you know that fight. I want to paint a picture of the exhaustion level that I was at when I started my Young Living business. And so I remember one day I was driving to work, and and I was done. I was tired. I had gone the whole week with almost no sleep, just trying to feed my kids, trying to do my job, come home, homeschool the kids afterwards. And I was really, really tired. And I really wanted to step off of anchoring news full time, but we couldn't afford it. I didn't make enough to be able to afford it. And so I remember driving up our hill that goes to our house. We live in upstate New York, and we hadn't seen the sun in weeks. It was in March, and it was just really, really cloudy, really windy, just kind of crazy. And I remember driving up the hill and just kind of having it out with God. I'm like, God, I don't understand. I don't understand why I'm a mom of a special needs son. I don't understand why my plate has to be busy all the time. I don't understand when I say no, why those spaces of no get filled with emergencies, why I never get rest, why I never get to a place where I can take it easy. I don't understand why my life is going this way. I don't understand why I can't get to a place where I can catch my breath. I'm tired and I'm weary, and I want to leave my job, and I want to stay home with my kids, and I need you to supply an income so I can do that. And I remember driving up the hill, and a song came on called Overwhelmed, that I just love that song. And I was listening to it in the car and just listening to the words. And so I pulled over, and I'm sitting there listening. All of a sudden, there's this little patch of sunlight on my knee. I look down and I see the little patch of sunlight on my knee, and then it spreads to my leg, and then it fills the whole van. And so I put my window down and I look outside, and you know when you step outside and like the sun comes out from behind a cloud, and all of a sudden the sun travels across an entire field, right? So I watched the sun go across the whole field. Thought, wow, that's really weird. I don't remember seeing the sun for a few weeks. And so I get out of my van, and I'm standing in the middle of the street on the side of the road, and I look up, and there's no clouds in the sky anywhere. None. Like there's not a single cloud, and I haven't seen the sun in so long. And I sit there and I sit down and I'm like, God, I can feel that you're here with me. I know I've got your ear. Can you just tell me why? You know, I know that this isn't the time for me to step down and cut back, but can you just tell me why? Why am I so tired all the time? Why can't I find a way out? And all I heard was, Sarah, you're not really good at leaning on me yet. When you're weary, you lean on me, right? You lean on me. And then you know that when you get out of a situation, it's because of me, right? It's because of my glory. And not because of you, and because of your strength, and because of anything that you're capable of, but it's because of me. So when you get to a place where you can learn to lean on me without being weary, right, then you'll be able to rest. And so that was just a big learning curve for me. Or I got to a place where I was like, okay, all right, I'm not getting rest right now because I think I can do it all, right? I think I could do it all. That was the place that I was at when I started my business. Just complete, total, adrenal gone, right? Just complete, total exhaustion, right? So you might feel like you got nothing. You got nothing to give. You've got no energy. You've had no sleep. You need so much for your body. You don't even know where to start with your body. You're overwhelmed with your kids. You're overwhelmed with your job. Maybe you are in a place of poverty like I was when I started. But until you learn to lean on him, those desires of your heart aren't going to be granted, right? The neat thing is that God loves to take little people and do big things. He loves to take little people and just do the impossible with them. So if you're a little person, like you're in the perfect place. The neat thing in the story is I'm not all that, guys. I know you put me on a pedestal. You've been so generous with your compliments at convention and at book signings and in all the cities that I've been this year and with the book. I mean, just so generous with your reviews on Amazon. But I'm just your run-of-the-mill mom. I got 5 kids, right? Some days I do it okay. Some days I don't do it okay. I'm still tired. I still make a million mistakes, right? And that's what Game Plan's about. It's about my mistakes. But you know, the neat thing is you don't have to be perfect to do this. You don't have to be flawless. If you think you have to be flawless going into this, then you're in the wrong place because you're being trained by somebody with a whole lot of mistakes. I'm not the fastest diamond. I'm not the smartest diamond. I'm not all that. But I do serve a great big God who loves to do big things with little tiny people, right? Little tiny people. So, all right, I promised you all 12 days. I've only got 10 minutes left to finish this training, so I really need to go fast. I promised you all the days here that I would give you new oil for your business every night. And so my oil of the night tonight is Valor, It's the very, very first oil that I got introduced to. It was the oil that got me through my first 101 class, and it's the oil of courage and bravery. It was discovered by Gary Young. He formulated it, and he found the elements of the recipe for it by looking through Roman records, because the Romans used to put this oil on their soldiers before they went out into battle. It was the oil of bravery, right? And so I want you to be brave tonight. All those things that you got going on in your head, I can't get people to come to class. I can't find leaders. I can't seem to get this thing off the ground. I haven't grown much since the last boot camp. My OGV seems to stay stagnant. All those things coming out of your mouth, you got to be brave to face that stuff. All right. And that's what this boot camp is about. It's about bravery. It's about doing things that are hard. It's about doing things that scare you, and knowing you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You just got to move. You just got to put one foot in front of the other, because God is not going to hand this business to you. You're going to have to work, right? You're going to have to work for it. So let me start with the intro to my next book. You guys know I'm working on a couple other books, right? The next one I'm almost done with. It's called Unstuck. It's an entire book on how to get people to come to class. I want to start with the first paragraph from that book, because I think it paints a picture of where you might be sitting right now, maybe desperate for change, unsure of how to get there. And so I'm going to start this next boot camp with this story. Are you ready? So here's a quote. You want it. You want freedom. You're weary. You need a leg up, but wanting it isn't enough to be able to get you there. It takes rolling up your sleeves and sharing essential oils constantly. And the more that you get that script in front of faces, the faster you get to freedom. Network marketing works. You know what to do, but despite your best efforts, nobody is listening. You can't seem to cross the bridge. You have wisdom that needs to be passed on, but getting your friends to the class is the hardest part. Let's look at facts for just a moment. There were more than 20 new diamonds in the month of November 2017. That's 20 new people running a business doing $250,000 a month in volume. According to the Young Living Income Disclosure Guide, they take home about $39,000 a month. That's what a diamond means in Young Living, right? A month. That's a month, right? Throughout the year of 2016, there were 57 new diamonds. In 2017, there were 148. That's 3 times more. In 2016, there were 2,200 new silvers, golds, and platinums. In 2017, there were almost 5,000. That's a 214% increase in 1 year. How are they doing it? How are they doing it? You see the success stories, they're everywhere, but how do you pull it off when you sit there at the same rank month after month, year after year? Why can't you be one of those numbers? It's your mindset. It's your mindset, and you need a strong enough why. You need a strong enough reason to fight, and that is why you're here tonight. Tonight, it's about you. Tonight, it's about your why. There are more than 450 diamonds in Young Living right now. There are diamonds that started from extreme poverty, and there are some that started from incredible wealth. There are diamonds that began their organizations in large cities, and some that began in towns of 600. There are diamonds that moved across the country or across the world and left everything that they knew behind, including all their friends and their family. And there are diamonds teaching in the same small towns that they grew up in. There are diamonds that are missionaries living in isolated locations. There are diamonds that were famous before they ever got a Young Living starter kit. There are diamonds that built entirely on social media and Instagram and Facebook. And there are diamonds that built with a cassette tape of a 101 class on horseback. Both ways work, by the way. Neither is wrong. There are diamonds with 15 children. There are diamonds that live alone. There are diamonds in their 70s and above. And there are diamonds that have just broken into their 20s. There are diamond men that built without a spouse. There are female diamonds that built without the support of their husband. There are husband and wife diamond teams that are also wildly successful. There are single diamonds with the exact same amount of success. There are diamonds whose spouse is still working because they love their job and they've never even been to a Young Living event. There are diamonds that are shy, and there are diamonds that love the biggest crowd they can speak in front of. There are introverted diamonds. There are extroverted diamonds. There are diamonds from Malaysia and Singapore and Australia and Europe, and diamonds from America, and each one has found a way to share from their own place. There are diamonds with PhDs who have won the respect of their peers at their prior jobs, and they have very gifted skills outside of oiling. And there are diamonds who have been stay-at-home moms and dads for years with no titles and no letters after their last name, just mama and daddy, and still pulling in more than $200,000 a month. There are diamonds that are battling a major health crisis or have struggled with weight and hormone issues for years, and there are diamonds that are running gyms. A diamond ship is not based on how you look, and a diamond ship is not based on what the scale says. The majority of the diamonds have never had formal aromatherapy training, and they've never been to school for network marketing, sales, or business. And I can safely say that nearly all of the diamonds didn't have time to launch their business when they did. Most were accidental business builders that got in just to get the product for free, infectiously shared, and found freedom through it. But there were also some who started because of the business opportunity, and they were dedicated and focused from the get-go, and they planned strategically, and all of them got diamond ships. Some had Royal Crown diamonds that knew their name and their cell phone number by memory, and others never met their diamond until their first diamond retreat. Many don't even have an upline diamond. There are Royal Crown diamonds with senior star or inactive uplines. Do you know what that means? None of that stuff has anything to do with what it takes to be a Young Living diamond. It's true. So if you're holding out until you know more people, or until your kids get older, or until you lose weight, or get more certifications, or get more network marketing training, it is costing you rank up time. You don't need any of that stuff. It's not a qualifying factor for what goes to diamond. Now, I can tell you what is. There's only 3 things that grow your business. Teaching classes in whatever form that looks like for you that gets results. And I'm about to wipe your fears away on the methods of sharing, getting your team on Essential Rewards, and training your leaders. You guys like Unstuck? Because that book is coming. It's coming. I just thought maybe that might encourage you a little bit as we're working through the first 2 chapters of Game Plan tonight. So I've got 5 minutes left. We're going to jump right into chapter 1 of Game Plan. So if you're following along, we're covering chapter 1 and 2 tonight, and that is why do a Young Living business? Why do a Young Living business? I'm going to give you 8 reasons why you should do a Young Living business in about 60 seconds. Number 1, there's no income ceiling. Guys, in 2 days, I will have been with Young Living for 4 years, and I have multiplied my highest income of my life by 12. By 12, okay, of my life because of Young Living. So is it worth it? Yeah, it is. Number 2, the timing has never been better. I just had a woman in another network marketing company tell me how amazing her company was. And I said, you know what? You got a great company, but you don't have a product that people need every single month. They need a consumable product, right? Young Living has 600 products: shampoo, cleaning supplies, personal care products, supplements, oils, like you name it, we've got it, right? We've got it. It's consumable. They need it every single month. And people are thinking green. They don't want the chemicals in their products anymore, which means you're in a perfect position. You have 100% wide open market. When you open your door and you walk outside and there's people outside, that's your market. Male, female, young people, old people, mature people, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay, 100% market. Number 3, you're your own boss and you set your own hours. I didn't even realize how much that meant to me until the first day after I retired. And I walked out into my living room and the sun was coming up. I hadn't seen a sunrise in 18 years. 18 years. I hadn't seen one because I was always up before the sun rose. And in the days I had off, I was sleeping because I was getting 3 or 4 hours a night of sleep, right? And so for me, a sunrise means freedom. You got the freedom to decide when you're going to work. You dictate your clock. That is terrific freedom. For those of you still working a 9 to 5, imagine what that feels like the day after you retire and you don't have to get up anymore, right? Number 4, willable income. Willable income. Why do the business? I think this is the greatest perk, honestly. It truly is. What it means is a diamond, right? I told you average diamond makes about $39,000 a month in Young Living. As a diamond, it means that if something happens to me or my husband, my income is willed to those who I've written it to be willed to, right? In this case, it's my 5 children. At $39,000 a month divided by 5 kids, do you know what that means? Right? It means my kids are getting like $6,000 or $7,000 a month each forever. Forever. Poverty, over. It's over for them. They will never have to walk the road that I have walked. Never. Never, right? They're never going to go to sleep without any food in their little bellies. They're taken care of forever because of a choice that I made with a starter kit a few years ago. It's worth it, right? No 401k can top that. No life insurance can beat my Young Living paycheck and the income that it will give my children forever and ever and ever. Willable income. Number 5, you take time off and you still get paid. You take time off your job and you still get paid. I didn't realize how much this meant to me until I felt it for the first time. My son, the one that was autistic when he was 14, he put a mechanical pencil in his brother's knee on the way to church one morning and was charged with a felony and 2 misdemeanors for stabbing and for endangering the life of a child. And as a mom, I had to make the hardest choice I'd ever made in my life. And that was to put my son in a school where they could work with him closely, one-on-one, with 9 men and train him how to use his words when he was angry and when he was frustrated. And so I didn't see my son for a year. In that year, I started my Young Living business, and he came home, and I promised myself as a brand new silver that I was going to take 30 days off, and I was going to focus just on Gabe, and I was going to let him know how loved he was and how treasured he was and how much we had missed him and get him back on a routine. I actually have a photo of him right when he came off the bus, hugging the brother that he put the pencil in his knee. There he is. He's just so precious. And I committed that for 30 days, I was going to focus on him only. And 4 days before Christmas, even after not touching anything Young Living, I still got a check in the mail. And I remember calling Young Living and I'm like, I said, I got this check in the mail and I don't think I'm supposed to get this. I'm really sorry. I just wanted to return it. And there's this pause and this woman goes, honey, do you know how network marketing works? And I said, no, not really. I've only been doing it about 12 weeks. And she said, well, she goes, when you're out there sharing, some people get kits, some people decide to share themselves just like you are, some people get on Essential Rewards, and you're still getting paid on that volume even if you're not working. And I said, yeah, but I haven't done anything. Like I haven't answered emails, I haven't called people back, I haven't taught any classes. I'm really focused on my son these 30 days. And then there's this long pause and she goes, honey, and that was when it clicked for me that the business is still there for you, even when you can't be there for the business, right? It's still there for you. And so it's another reason why it's a perk. Because, I don't know any diamonds who said, I got all the way to diamond and there were no bumps in the road. There was nothing that happened to me. Just because you're a diamond doesn't mean you don't have a family, you don't have life going on, right? You have things that happen to you. And so having that business be there for you and you can't be there for the business, oh my word. Wow, it's a great blessing. Taking time off and still getting paid. The relationships that you build. Perk number 6, the friends you'll meet along the journey, they will blow your doors off. You will not be able to imagine your life without these strong women and men in your life. And then you have a front row seat to watch them rank up and them hit diamond right underneath you. It is an incredible perk to sit there and watch your leaders experience freedom because of that starter kit that showed up on their doorstep and your pursuit of them because you believed in them and you encouraged them, right? Amazing, amazing perk to the business. You do better when you reach down and you pull other people up with you. I told my team when I hit diamond, I'm like, you're all coming with me. You're all coming with me, so get ready for your diamond ship because I'm not doing this by myself. If I'm going to be a diamond, you're going to be a diamond too, right? Perk number 7, the way Young Living treats you, red carpet treatment, the retreats, just the way that they love on you. When you hit diamond, being able to text, to ask questions, having special Facebook pages, it's just amazing. The recognition at convention, this is just a company that loves their people. And then 8, financial freedom. When we're done, you get on and you go Google 2017, 2016 Young Living Income Disclosure Guide and just look at how much they pay each rank, right? You cannot make that in a non-network marketing job, and you definitely can't will it to other people. Right? Can you hear my heart here? You can't free others when you're in bondage. You can't serve other people when you can't stand. You can't, right? You're taking food off of your own table by trying to help the people around you. And so it's time for you to move. It's time for you to get out from where you are. All right, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to share my story. And then I'm going to wrap tonight up because we're about at the end of our time. And I cannot believe I got through this whole thing in 20 minutes. This has been crazy. But I got some homework for you. I'm going to make you work on this boot camp. But I know you can do it. I know you've got it in you to fight for freedom. So my story. I live in New York right now, but I grew up in Chicago. I've lived in Chicago for 30 years. That was where I was born. It's where generations of my family are from. I'm a Midwestern girl. And I grew up in a subdivision that was pretty dangerous. Now it's wonderful, but when I lived there, it wasn't very good. And it was sandwiched between two gang communities. And so I've got a lot of memories of coming home on school buses and them doing drug raids on houses that were really close to my home, sitting there in my elementary school bus looking out the window with SWAT teams going in and big weapons. My father has been in 19 DUI crashes. The last one he was in, he rolled a van with 7 guys in it. 2 of them got thrown out of the vehicle and he rolled over them with the van, and they were all inebriated, so they all survived. And so my mom was basically a single mom to 4 kids. And I get my big faith from my mama. I love my dad. I love my dad so much. But it was a hard childhood. It was really hard. And we were very, very poor, very poor. And so growing up, I got a lot of memories of trying to protect my siblings against gang members in our subdivisions. It's where they traded drugs, and it just wasn't a very safe place to live. When I was 16 years old, I met my husband, John, and I love him with my whole heart. He's my best friend in the entire world, and just an amazing man. And we got engaged 3 weeks after we met, which is crazy. 3 weeks. And then the first year that we were married, it was hard. You know, when you're 19 years old and you get married, you don't have a lot. And so the first year we were married, John worked a job at a full-time gas station position, and then he slept a few hours, then he had overnight shift at another gas station. I had a job 40 hours a week typing addresses for a book publishing company. And then at night, I had a 21-hour course load in college. And on the nights I didn't have school, I had a part-time job for a Christian bookseller, and we found out 3 months after we got married that I was pregnant. And so the first year we were married, we had 3 full-time jobs, a part-time job, a 21-hour college course load, and a pregnancy. And we couldn't make it. Every month we didn't have enough. Every month we got eviction notices. We didn't have enough food, because when you're making $4 an hour, you can't pay for an $800 a month rent. You just don't make enough money to be able to pay for your rent. So we hunkered down and we lived with my parents for 3 years. And then I got into the projects, and I was so excited. We've been on a waiting list for the projects for a couple of years. And we got in, and my first home had cinder block walls and tile floors. We had cockroaches everywhere, but it was mine. It was my video, or it was my home. And so I was so excited just to have a place of my own. We couldn't even afford furniture when we lived in there. And so I actually have a picture. This is 2 of my kids, my second-born and my third-born, my son and my daughter, sleeping on mattresses on the floor when we were living in the projects, because we couldn't afford furniture. We had, no food. And so if you were walking through my home then, you'd open up the cabinets and there wasn't anything in it, because if you have to choose between taking your paycheck and putting in your gas tank so you can get to work, or taking your paycheck and buying food, you put it in your gas tank so you don't lose your job, right? And that was the place that John and I lived at for 12 years. We lived in the projects in Dixon, Illinois, and then we moved and we lived in the projects in DeKalb, Illinois, after being on a waiting list for years to get in there. It was really, really hard. There were times I would open my cabinets, there was nothing. There was nothing to eat. I would come off of my shift and open them, and there was no food. And so I would take the kids, and we would stand outside in lines for hours at the food pantry waiting to get in. There were 3 food pantries that we frequented to be able to get in and get food. And I remember one time we went in, and their meat truck had broken down, and we hadn't had meat in 3 weeks. And they said, "Sarah, we're so sorry, but we can't give you meat today, but we do have chocolate pudding." And so we ate chocolate pudding for breakfast, lunch, and dinner until my food card went through and we were able to get more food. That was the way that we lived. That was our life. Fast forward, I got a job anchoring news after I graduated. Thought I'd arrived. I made $35,000 a year, but it took 50% of my paycheck just to get to work. So the 7 of us were living on $16,000 a year, which is still poverty level. We still had WIC assistance. We lived in government housing. We were on the medical card. We frequented the food pantries. We went through 6 cars in less than a year because the transmissions kept going out in our used cars. And it was just, it was hard. It was hard. Then I got a job anchoring news in upstate New York, and we moved our entire family out here. Didn't know anybody. Moved 800 miles away. And I started anchoring news for a Christian network in upstate New York. And we were better then. We were out of the projects, but we were in survival mode. We were right here. We had $70,000 in student loans. We bought a little 1,300 square foot house. 3 of our kids lived in our garage because we didn't have enough room in the house. And so they had bookcases for walls and sheets for doors. And that's where I was living 1 year ago this week. That was my home 1 year ago this week. And so I just want to end by showing you what happened since I got my starter kit. All right, 7 years after I moved to New York, I got invited to an oils class, and it changed my life. It completely changed my life. I said yes to the kit, I got it, and I started teaching. And 2.5 years after that, we hit Diamond. And I'm going to spend the rest of boot camp explaining to you how we did it. But I just want to end real quickly showing you some pictures of the journey. All right, this is when we were living in the projects. All right. And this is me anchoring news. That's me the last day that I anchored full time, just my face so swollen, so much inflammation. These are my kids going with me teaching classes. A part of the journey is just the people that you meet. Like this amazing man who just completely changed my life and rocked my world. The places our feet have been able to travel with my kids. I'm a homeschool mom from the projects. I didn't have any plans on going to Venice, Italy, or Ephesus, Turkey, right? But we won the Global Leadership Cruise right after I started in Young Living. And so this homeschool mama who just read things in books was able to travel with her kids. This is while we're still living in that house with the sheets for doors, right? And there's my kids in Turkey because of Young Living. And then during the last boot camp, I hit Diamond. The journey has just been amazing, absolutely incredible. The road that you walk when you say yes and you fight and you don't give up. You don't ever, ever, ever give up, right? And so this week actually marks the 1 year anniversary that we moved into our Diamond house. So when I shot the last boot camp, I was still living in our 1,300 square foot house. But these are pictures of my kids seeing their bedrooms downstairs for the very first time. That's our fourth born. He was excited because they don't get closets. His own closet. My baby girl who has 4 brothers has her own bedroom. And there she is seeing her room for the first time. We made my 17-year-old cry when he saw that he was getting his own bedroom. Do you know why he cried? Because this was his room 1 year ago. This is where we moved from. Those are the bookcases that we had for walls, and those are the sheets for doors. That was our garage that we had heated with little heaters because it didn't have a heat source. And these are my kids' bedrooms now, right? Poverty over. Poverty over. One of the things I'm so thankful for are doors. That my baby girl has a place to get changed without her brothers being in the same room with her, right? I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for the road that the Lord has had us on. And so I just want to challenge you to say yes, not to give up. Maybe giving up has crossed your mind 10,000 times, and yet you're still sitting here looking at a boot camp going, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't even know why I'm here. You're here because there's a part of you that still hopes, right? There's a part of you that hopes you can make it all the way to Diamond. And you know what? I know that you can. I know you can. I know you can do it. So let's start tonight with your why. Because if you don't have that right here, you're not going to get out and you're not going to fight for it. My why at the beginning was my babies. It was getting food in their bellies. It was not having sheets for doors, right? It was being able to take care of them better. I didn't feel like as a mom I could take good care of my kids, but I know that you can, right? I know that you can. I know where this road leads. If you just keep walking, you got to get out there and you got to fight because you got it in you, right? You've got it in you. If you can read the 3-page script, you can go all the way. So you ready for your homework tonight? Then we're going to wrap up day 1. Whew. This is intense. It's the fastest I've ever told my story. Fastest I've ever told my story. So your homework, you grab the workbook, the game plan workbook. All you need to do this boot camp, these free videos, the 2nd edition game plan book, and the 2nd edition workbook. You don't have them. They're up on Amazon Prime. You can get them in 48 hours. They're also on our website, oilabilityteam.com. Okay? So your homework, I want you to go into worksheet 1 and 2, and I want you to write out your why tonight. I want you to write out your income goals. And don't tell me the Royal Crown Diamond goals. I want you to tell me what you can do in the next 6 months, all right? Where you want to be. I want you to go to YouTube and type in Rise of the Entrepreneur. It's an Eric Worre video. I love promoting him. Young Living just used him at convention, right, to speak. And I want you to watch that and get some fire. And then chapter 2, every class needs to start with your story. It's got to start with your passion, right? It's got to start with your beginning, your why. Why are you so on fire with oils? Every 101 needs to start with you. It needs to start with your starting place. So I want you to practice writing out your story. So write out your why and write out your story. Your homework between now and tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to do video 2, is to read chapter 1 and 2 in here. The chapters are pretty short. I'm a news anchor. I'm used to writing 30-second newscasts. So the chapters are pretty short. And I want you to do the first 2 sets of worksheets. And if you got it, you just douse yourself in Valor oil while you're doing it. Get some on your feet. Get some in your diffuser. And I want you to remember why you're doing this. I want you to remember your fight, your reasons. And you got to wake up every day with that right here, or you're not going to keep going. All right, you're not going to keep going. So day 2, tomorrow night, a quick start training guide to oils, and then the 6 mistakes that every stagnant business builder makes. It'll be a lot easier for me to do exactly 20 minutes from here on out, but tonight was hard. I'm going to train you on my mistakes, my errors to save you time. It's Game Plan Boot Camp time. You've got it in you. Just 11 more videos left. You can do this. So hang with me. Hang with me. I got you every step of the way. You will overcome. You are a diamond rising. Know who you are. Know who you are and wake up every day with your why right in your heart and keep moving forward. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.